I was finalizing the paperwork to add her as beneficiary on my retirement accounts. $430,000 she'd inherit if something happened to me. When her sister called asking why I wasn't at the surprise party they were throwing for her ex-boyfriend's promotion. Hey friends, please subscribe and turn on notifications, like this video, and leave a comment with your impressions. This will be a great help. Thank you. We never tire of reminding you. It's all thanks to you. There's something about September in New Orleans that feels like the city exhaling after holding its breath all summer. The oppressive heat finally breaking, the humidity dropping just enough to make walking outside bearable again, the light changing to something softer and more forgiving. I'm 40, been working as a wealth management advisor for a private firm in the French Quarter for the past 15 years. My job is helping people protect and grow their assets, planning for futures they hope to live, and preparing for ones they hope never come. Tasha is 35, works as an event coordinator for one of the big hotels on Canal Street. High-energy work, constantly managing weddings and corporate functions, always on her phone juggling vendors and last-minute crises. We'd been together for 3 years, living together in a shotgun double in the Marigny for the past 16 months. Talked about marriage in abstract terms, made plans that felt solid even if they weren't formalized yet. The beneficiary paperwork had been my idea. Part of what I do professionally is make sure people have their affairs in order, and I'd realized my own retirement accounts still listed my brother as primary beneficiary from years ago, before Tasha. We talked about it last month, and she'd been touched that I wanted to make the change. That's a big deal, she'd said. That means you really see a future with me. I told her of course I did. We were building something real. That Thursday afternoon, September 21st, I was at my desk finishing the beneficiary designation forms. The process was straightforward but important. My 401k had about $290,000. My IRA had another $140,000. Total of $430,000 that would go to Tasha if something happened to me. I was changing the forms from my brother's name to hers, dating them, preparing to submit them to my firm's HR department by end of day. Around 3:30, my phone rang. Unknown local number. I almost didn't answer, probably spam, but I was on hold with our custodian bank anyway, waiting to verify some client account details, so I picked up. Hello. Hi, is this Holden? A woman's voice I didn't recognize. This is Holden. Oh good. This is Tasha's sister Nicole. We haven't met yet, but Tasha's told me about you. Nicole, right? Hi. What's up? I'm calling because I'm at Brennan's restaurant right now and I noticed you're not here yet. The party started at 3, but I know people are coming and going, so I wanted to make sure you knew where it was. I pulled the phone away from my ear and looked at it for a second, confused. What party? The surprise party. For Marcus's promotion. Tasha organized the whole thing. She told me you'd be here. Marcus. I knew that name. Marcus Landry. Tasha's ex-boyfriend from her 20s. They'd dated for almost 4 years before breaking up when he moved to Houston for work about 7 years ago. She'd mentioned him maybe 5 times total in 3 years, always in past tense, always as ancient history. I'm sorry, Nicole, I think there's been some confusion. I didn't know anything about a party for Marcus. Really? Tasha didn't tell you? She's been planning it for 2 weeks. Marcus just got promoted to regional director at his company and moved back to New Orleans last month. Tasha wanted to celebrate his return and his promotion. She said you were coming. I sat there processing this. Marcus moved back to New Orleans? When? Early August, I think. You didn't know? No, I didn't. Oh, well, the party's at Brennan's in the private room. If you want to come, we're here until 6. Thanks for the call, Nicole. I hung up and sat there staring at my desk. The beneficiary forms with Tasha's name on them were right in front of me. $430,000 I was about to designate to someone who was throwing a surprise party for her ex-boyfriend, had been planning it for 2 weeks, and hadn't mentioned any of it to me. I opened my phone and checked Tasha's location. We shared locations, basic safety thing. She was at Brennan's restaurant on Royal Street. I looked at my calendar. She told me this morning she had a big corporate event at the hotel this afternoon and evening, wouldn't be home until late. Big medical conference, she'd said. Dinner and awards ceremony. Probably won't be done until 9 or 10. I pulled up our shared credit card, the one we used for joint expenses. Scrolled through recent charges. Nothing unusual at first glance. Groceries, utilities, restaurants. Then I noticed something from 2 weeks ago. Party supply store in Metairie, $347. I clicked on the detail. Decorations, balloons, banners. Last week, catering deposit to a company I didn't recognize, $600. 4 days ago, Brennan's restaurant, deposit charge for $100. She'd been charging party expenses for her ex-boyfriend's celebration to our joint card. I opened her Instagram on my laptop. She kept her account public for work purposes, always posting about the events she coordinated. Scrolled through recent posts. Lots of hotel event photos, professional stuff. Then 3 weeks ago, a photo of her at a restaurant with a group of people. Caption: good catching up with old friends. Welcome back to NOLA. Tagged in the photo, Marcus_Landry 85. I clicked through to his profile. Recent photos showed him around New Orleans, beignet at Café du Monde, drinks in the quarter, a photo at the levee. His bio said regional director, back home in NOLA. Scrolled through his photos. Found one from 2 weeks ago, photo of him and Tasha at what looked like a bar in the warehouse district. They were close together, his arm around her shoulders, both smiling. Her caption on her own repost of it. Missed this one. So glad you're back. Found another from 10 days ago, Tasha and Marcus at a Saints tailgate. Another from 6 days ago, them at a jazz show on Frenchman Street. I sat back in my chair. Marcus had moved back to New Orleans in August. Tasha had been seeing him regularly for at least 3 weeks. She'd been planning this party for 2 weeks, charging expenses to our joint card, and had told me she was working late tonight when she was actually at his surprise party. I checked the time. 3:45. The party had started at 3, would run until 6 according to Nicole. I looked at the beneficiary forms on my desk. Then I opened a new browser and searched for Brennan's restaurant. 15 minutes away. I saved the beneficiary forms as a draft without submitting them. Then I grabbed my keys and drove to the French Quarter. Brennan's is one of those classic New Orleans restaurants. Pink building on Royal Street, elegant and expensive, the kind of place you take someone when you want to impress them. I parked on Chartres and walked over. The hostess greeted me at the front. Good afternoon. Do you have a reservation? I'm here for the private party. The Landry party. Oh yes, upstairs in the Chantilly room. You can head right up. I climbed the stairs to the second floor. Found the private room at the end of the hall, door partially open. I could hear music, laughter, conversation. I stood there for a moment, then walked in. The room was full. Maybe 40 people, most of them around my age, cocktails in hand. Decorations everywhere saying, "Congratulations, Marcus." A big banner that read, "Welcome home and congrats on the promotion." And there, in the middle of it all, was Tasha. She was wearing a dress I'd never seen, hair done up, makeup perfect. She was standing next to Marcus, her hand on his arm, both of them laughing at something someone had said. I stood in the doorway and watched. Nobody had noticed me yet. I watched Tasha lean in close to Marcus, whisper something in his ear. Watched him smile and put his arm around her waist. Watched them move through the room like a couple, greeting guests together, completely comfortable with each other. Then someone near the door noticed me. "Hey, are you here for Marcus?" Tasha's head turned. She saw me. Her face went absolutely white. She said something quick to Marcus and walked toward me, fast, grabbed my arm, and pulled me back out into the hallway. "Holden, what are you doing here?" "Your sister called me. Asked why I wasn't at the party yet. Said you told her I'd be here." "I didn't. She wasn't supposed to. You've been planning a surprise party for your ex-boyfriend for 2 weeks and charging it to our joint credit card while telling me you were working late. It's not what you think." "What do I think, Tasha? Marcus is just a friend. This is a professional celebration. He got promoted, and I wanted to help him celebrate coming back to the city." "Professional? Is that why you've been going to bars with him, jazz shows, Saints games? Is that why you were just standing there with his arm around your waist? You've been stalking my Instagram? It's public. And you tagged him. 3 weeks of photos together that you never mentioned to me once." She looked panicked. "I didn't tell you because I knew you'd overreact like this. Overreact to you secretly seeing your ex-boyfriend for 3 weeks while lying about where you were." "I wasn't lying. I was working. And sometimes I saw Marcus after work. Like tonight, when you told me you had a corporate event until 10, but you're actually throwing him a party. This is a corporate event. Sort of. It's networking. It's a party for your ex-boyfriend that you planned and paid for and lied to me about. Stop trying to reframe it." I could see tears starting. "Holden, please, you're embarrassing me in front of everyone." "I'm embarrassing you? I'm not the one who lied about where I was tonight. Marcus appeared in the doorway. Everything okay out here? We're fine, Tasha said quickly. Actually, I said, I was just leaving. Congratulations on the promotion, Marcus. Nice party. My girlfriend did a great job planning it. She's been working on it for 2 weeks. Used our joint credit card to pay for everything. I'm sure you two will have a great time celebrating. I walked past them both and down the stairs. Behind me, I heard Tasha say, Holden, wait. But I kept walking. Got in my truck and drove home. My hands were shaking. Not from anger exactly. More like adrenaline, the feeling of something breaking in real time. When I got home, I sat at my kitchen table and pulled up all our shared accounts on my laptop. Joint credit card. Current balance, $4,200. I calculated my portion of legitimate shared expenses versus party costs she'd hidden. Transferred my portion to pay my half of actual joint expenses. Left her portion and the party costs for her to handle. Opened our joint checking account. We'd opened it about a year ago for rent and utilities. Current balance, $6,800. I'd contributed about 60% over the past year based on our income difference. Calculated my share for $1,080. Transferred it to my personal account. Pulled up our lease. We rented the shotgun double month to month. I was the primary on the lease. She was an occupant. 30 days notice required. I drafted an email to our landlord. Please accept this as 30-day notice of my intent to vacate 2847 Burgundy Street. Final occupancy date October 21st. Holden Pierce. Sent it. Started looking at apartments. Found a 1-bedroom in the Bywater, walking distance to the river, available November 1st. $1,200 a month. Applied online. Around 7 Tasha came home. I was at the kitchen table with my laptop. She came in looking wrecked, mascara smudged, eyes red. Can we please talk about this? Go ahead. Marcus and I are friends. That's all. Yes, I should have told you he was back in town. Yes, I should have told you about the party. But you're acting like I'm having an affair, and I'm not. You've been seeing him for 3 weeks without telling me. You lied about where you were tonight. You were standing there with his arm around you looking like a couple. We're comfortable with each other. We dated years ago. That doesn't mean anything's happening now. Then why hide it? Because I knew you'd react exactly like this. You're jealous and possessive. I'm not jealous. I'm responding to you lying to me repeatedly while spending significant time with your ex-boyfriend. I wasn't lying. You told me you were working late tonight. You were at his party. That's a lie, Tasha. She sat down heavily. Okay, fine. I lied about tonight. I should have told you. But nothing is happening with Marcus. Do you want something to happen with Marcus? She didn't answer right away. Tasha, do you want to be with Marcus? I don't know. I'm confused. He's back and all these old feelings came up, and I don't know what I want. I nodded slowly. Okay, thank you for being honest about that. So what now? Now I make decisions based on the fact that you're confused about whether you want to be with your ex-boyfriend. I gave notice on this apartment. I'm moving out October 21st. What? You can't just. I can. I'm the primary on the lease. You can try to take it over if the landlord approves you, or you can find somewhere else. Where am I supposed to go? Maybe Marcus has room. You two seem close. You're being cruel. I'm being clear. You just told me you're confused about whether you want to be with him. I'm not going to sit around waiting while you figure it out. I love you. You love the security I provide. You don't love me enough to be honest about seeing your ex-boyfriend. She tried everything over the next few hours. Said she'd cut contact with Marcus completely. Said she'd go to therapy. Said she was just confused and needed time. Said I was throwing away 3 years over nothing. I didn't argue. Just kept stating facts. She'd lied repeatedly. She'd been seeing Marcus for weeks. She'd admitted she was confused about her feelings. I was moving out. She finally left for a friend's house around 11. Over the next few days, the contact attempts came. Friday, Marcus called from an unknown number. Holden, this is Marcus Landry. I want you to know nothing inappropriate has happened between Tasha and me. Yet. What? She told me she's confused about her feelings for you. So maybe nothing's happened yet, but that's where it's heading. Either way, not my problem anymore. Look, I don't want to cause problems. 3 weeks too late for that. We're done here. Blocked the number. Saturday, Tasha's best friend Simone called. Holden, Tasha is absolutely devastated. She made a mistake, but she loves you. She told me she's confused about whether she wants to be with Marcus. That's not love, Simone. That's someone keeping me as backup while she explores her options. She was just scared. She didn't know how to tell you. So she lied instead. Multiple times. While planning parties for him and spending our joint money on it. I'm not interested in someone who handles fear by lying. Sunday, long email from Tasha. Subject, I'm sorry. Detailed explanation of how Marcus's return had stirred up old memories. How she'd been confused. How she'd handled it terribly. How she saw now that she wanted me, not him. How she'd told Marcus there was nothing between them. How she wanted to fix things. I replied, I'm glad you figured out what you want. Unfortunately, what I figured out is that when you're confused or scared, you lie to me and hide things. That's not someone I can build a future with. I've moved on. Set up filter to archive her emails. By mid-October, I was moved into my Bywater apartment. Small but comfortable, exposed brick, big windows, walking distance to the levee where I started running every morning. Joined a Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym nearby. Started taking a Japanese cooking class at a culinary school in the Marigny. Learned to make okonomiyaki, proper ramen, tempura. Found the precision and technique meditative. Work stayed busy. End-of-year financial planning season meant long days with clients, portfolio reviews, tax strategy sessions. The focus helped. Late October, I ran into Nicole, Tasha's sister, the one who'd called about the party, at a coffee shop in the quarter. Holden, hi, how are you? Good, Nicole. You? I'm okay. I feel terrible about that phone call. I had no idea Tasha hadn't told you about Marcus or the party. I would never have called if I'd known. Not your fault. I'm glad you did, actually. Better to find out. Still, I'm sorry. She hesitated. I don't know if you heard, but Tasha and Marcus tried to make it work. Lasted about 3 weeks. Turns out what they had in their 20s doesn't translate to their 30s. He got transferred to Atlanta 2 weeks ago. Took the job immediately. I absorbed that. That's rough. She lost you, lost him, lost her apartment. She's staying with our parents right now trying to figure things out. I hope she does. You seem like you're doing really well, though. I am. Really well. Early November, I was at a community meeting about riverfront development, part of my volunteer work with a neighborhood association, when I saw Tasha. She was there representing her hotel, talking about event space and tourism impact. She saw me during the break. Came over looking nervous. Holden, I didn't expect to see you here. I volunteer with the Bywater Association. We're stakeholders in the development. Right? Of course. Pause. How are you? I'm good. You? I'm managing. Work is busy. That's good. Silence hung between us. Then she said, I heard Marcus moved to Atlanta. Nicole mentioned that. We tried. For a few weeks. It didn't work. Turns out we were in love with memories, not each other. I'm sorry it didn't work out. Are you? Yeah. I didn't want you to get hurt. I just didn't want to be part of the equation while you figured it out. She nodded, eyes getting wet. You were right. About everything. I was keeping you as security while I explored things with Marcus. That was unfair and dishonest. I appreciate you saying that. I threw away something real for something that was never going to work. I see that now. I hope that helps you make better choices in the future. Is there any possibility? No, Tasha. I figured. She wiped at her eyes. You look really happy. I am. I'm glad. You deserved better than what I did to you. She started to walk back to her hotel colleagues, then turned. Those beneficiary forms you were filling out. Did you ever submit them? No. I saved them as a draft. Never filed them. Smart. You should add someone you actually trust. I will when the time is right. She nodded and walked away. The meeting continued. We discussed development impacts, community benefits, traffic concerns. I took notes, asked questions, contributed to the conversation. Normal civic engagement, nothing complicated. Afterward, I walked home along the levee. The November evening cool and clear, the river moving slow and dark beside me. My apartment was warm when I got there. I made dinner. Okonomiyaki I'd learned in cooking class, the savory pancake perfectly crispy, and ate while reading a book about municipal finance. Later, I pulled up the beneficiary forms I'd saved as a draft back in September. Changed the beneficiary from Tasha's name back to my brother's. Dated them November 7th. Submitted them to HR. $430,000 going to someone I could actually trust. I didn't feel triumphant about Tasha's situation. I felt clear about the decision I'd made. Working in wealth management had taught me that the most important asset people have isn't money. It's judgment about who to trust with it. I'd almost made a catastrophic error trusting someone who was actively lying to me. I caught it just in time. I didn't feel vindicated. I felt whole. When you're about to designate someone as beneficiary of your life savings, and you discover they're throwing secret parties for their ex while lying about where they are, do you try to understand their confusion, or do you immediately protect your assets and walk away? Share your perspective in the comments.